Football fans, welcome back to another episode of Lions Latest, the show where we gather around and talk about the greatest team in the NFL, the Detroit Lions. I'm your host, Bryan Hanes, and in this episode, we have some stuff to look at for the Week 2 matchup against the Bears and some adjustments that have been made in the practices. So let's get straight into the video. Starting off, we are talking about the pass rush in specific against the Chicago Bears. So against the Green Bay Packers, there was obviously some exploits that were shown against the Lions' defensive line. The plan basically was double team Aiden Hutchinson and just dare any of the other guys on the D line to get to the quarterback. And it worked. They were able to hold it really well, and the blanks that were supposed to be filled were just not filled. And the silence from Detroit's pass rush was deafening. I mean, you could tell there was nothing getting to Jordan Love. You could tell in the run games there were gaps getting open for Josh Jacobs. It was a hard game to watch. So what do we need to adjust? Well, before we talk about what needs to be adjusted, there's now questions being raised to the coordinators, to the coaching office about what's going to change. What's going to change with what's going on, especially now that Zadarius Smith is out of the question. I mean, this is precisely what Lions fans, including myself, were worried about and concerned about throughout the duration of training camp, right? Throughout the duration of the offseason. The team largely stood pat with its pass rush group, betting that Hutchinson would be able to continue ascension and be great on his own, while Davenport would provide adequate pressure from the opposite side. And we just saw that as long as they are covering Aiden Hutchinson, Davenport was non-existent. It's tough. Defensive end Marcus Davenport, whom the Lions re-signed this offseason, is just not the answer that we are looking for currently. The frustration was palpable from defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard. When addressing the media this week, he said, quote, Hutch is that type of capital player. We know he's going to get double teamed and chipped like that. We just need other guys to step up. And to me, that's like, you got to manufacture some pressure, end quote. Okay. So he's saying we need to manufacture pressure. Why didn't we go get some guy to help? Why was Zadarius Smith just floating out, getting picked up by nobody until a team was smart enough to go, oh, if Detroit's not going to grab him, we might as well have him for the depth? I mean, it seems like a no-brainer. And if Kelvin Shepard's going to talk about how, we just need some guy to step up, it's like, guys, well, it's the end of training camp now. It's kind of too late for someone to step up, right? Manufacturing pressure might be the key phrase for the Lions moving forward as well. If no natural pass rusher emerges opposite of Hutchinson, the team's likely going to have to go to blitz packages, which we can be fine with because we have moved to that man coverage type of defensive play. But blitzes don't work every single time, and offenses start to find out when you're blitzing, and they take huge advantages of that. Derek Barnes, Brian Branch, they're probably gonna have to get involved, and then you're leaving a linebacker to not cover somebody, or a safety is coming down, and now you have an opportunity to throw a big pass over the top. It's one of those things where you see a performance like that, and it just validates all these horrible things we have been thinking, that fans have been addressing about the pass rushing and free agency, and that we should have just jumped on it. Quote from Brad Holmes, you can also say, hey, maybe Brad Holmes is falling in love with his guys a little bit too much. Not from Brad Holmes. That was a quote from a Detroit reporter. He's got a point, though. Maybe Brad Holmes is falling in love with his guys a little too much. And it's getting to the point where it's like, oh, I want to keep them around because, oh, they've been so good for us and they've been here for the rebuild. And they're one of the guys. They're a locker room guy, right? You can only have so many locker room guys. At one point, you do have to start going and looking for guys that are going to make the team better. And Caleb Williams, despite his shortcomings on Monday, is a scrambling quarterback. Let's keep this in mind. For whatever reason, we can never stop scrambling quarterbacks. Pressure has to be there. Even though Williams kind of looked lost, looked hesitant, when Williams is feeling the pressure, he will make mistakes. We have seen this from him. But containing him, stopping him from running out of the pocket has to be on point. We cannot be giving him multiple exits out of a play. We cannot be giving him multiple chances to extend a play that shouldn't be extended. One of the areas, though, where the Lions defensive coordinator Kelvin Shepard thought that the defense did good against the Packers was keeping Jordan Love contained inside the pocket. Now, if that's because he didn't have to ever leave the pocket, that's up to you. But not letting him making a play with his legs is something we apparently did well. I guess you could say that. So I guess that is something to look forward to into this week's matchup. I'm not saying Caleb Williams is any Lamar Jackson, any Patrick Mahomes, But still, if he's going to use his legs and he's going to get first downs on third and longs he shouldn't be getting, that can be a serious issue to us, especially in the momentum game. We're going to have to keep him inside the pocket or at least stop him from making any extra plays down the field. With that being said, we're going to move on to our second topic. Let me know what you guys think about this. What are some other things about the pass rush that need to be addressed, and what do we need to really focus on going into this week's matchup? We are now going to be talking about just some predictions and trends going into this week. Now, we've talked about in these past videos, week 2 in general, but these are some trends. So, USA Today had a panel of NFL experts lock in their picks and predictions for the action, and they described why. They threw in some prediction or some trends from recent years and our recent matchups against the Bears, and this is what we got. So first of all, Detroit is projected to win this game. Most analysts say Detroit will be playing better because they're actually going against Ben Johnson, kind of believing that the Lions will have a chip on their shoulder, play harder. That's the idea, right? The Bears defense, though, could be among the best in the league if Chicago had an offense capable of keeping them off the field for long stretches and keeping them fresh. And that's just not the case right now. As long as Caleb Williams is overthrowing wide open receivers, it really does seem one-sided in the matchup of who can do more, right? However, this is an intriguing matchup with Ben Johnson going against his former team. And because of that, in theory, the Bears should know how to attack us better. Right? In theory, Ben Johnson knows how they're going to play offense. Should they be able to stop us better? That could be something to look forward to. But the other thing is, what we saw Sunday against the Packers was nothing like the Ben Johnson offense. No kidding, right? But who knows? Maybe they'll have a better eye on us. I just think we are more complete as a team. And if we clean up that little stuff, we are going to play better than them. And the other thing is that Decker and Jack Campbell, are looking better, are now just questionable on the injury report, and we're seeing back in practice. So that's something also to look forward to, is that we have two major players coming back. You know, despite our shortcomings, we have these guys coming back who, maybe they didn't have the best game against the Packers, but these are guys we're going to need. So that's something else to keep in mind. The Bears rushing defense is 13th in the league last year with 2,317 opponent rushing yards allowed. And with the kind of team we have, if they're not going to be ready to go, we're going to have a day. The Bears are currently 7th in total defense, 5th in passing defense, and tied for 3rd in third down efficiency after week 1 this year. But that was against a very iffy 3 quarters where the Vikings just kind of looked like they were lost for a little bit. So I wouldn't put too much into that. I think we're going to be able to get the running game going, hopefully, because if we do, I can see us really getting this game going in our favor. I believe that if we can do that and get the offensive line on the same page as everyone else and the coordinator, we'll be able to go down, score, and win this game. If we have the same amount of miscommunication, though, that we did last game, we don't stand a chance. Defense is going to have to step up and constantly pressure the second-year quarterback Caleb Williams to, make sure he doesn't get any careful, comfortable reads. Again, we pressure him. He's going to make mistakes. And, yeah, guys, that's what it's looking like. I think that stat-wise we look better. Depth chart-wise we look better. And even though we blew it week 1, I think on camera we looked better, to be honest with you guys. I don't trust Williams. He'll have flashy plays and he'll have flashes of greatness, but he still has not proven he can be consistent. That's all on that. So that's what I think about that, guys. Let me know what you think. If there's a trend I missed, if there's something important you think will play into this, let me know. We're just going to move on to our third topic of the day. We are talking about the O-line fixing some mistakes and also being ready for this week. So as we know, there were several misassignments up front, passing game, running game, and our loss against the Packers, right, in week 1. The Packers sacked quarterback Jared Goff 4 times, hit him 9 times total, and Detroit, on the other side, only averaged 2.1 yards per carry on the ground, as the defense for Green Bay was just doing whatever they wanted to us. Lions offensive coordinator John Morton said Thursday that these issues that the O-line had up front with miscommunication, missed assignments, stuff like that, have been addressed and fixed this week. It's another opportunity for us to prove ourselves. All-Pro right tackle Penei Sewell said after the Sunday night game, looking forward to the game against Chicago at Ford Field. He said who we are and what we are capable of, right? We know what they're capable of. We know who they are as a team. They really just needed to show it, and they didn't do a great job of that. I think this game against Chicago is going to be okay, scrap that week. We're still the same team. Right. Both the veteran and young players along Detroit's front didn't hide from the performance last week and have been very vocal about getting back to the standard that has been established for several years now in that O line room. Right. Young guards Christian Mahogany and Tate Ratledge were among those young guys who were making some mistakes, who people are really excited for. And they were credited by Pro Football Focus with allowing 7 total pressures and 3 sacks against the Packers. Listen, guys, there is no better teacher in this league than when you get hit hard with stuff like that. And with the expectation being high for them, they quickly figured out that no one's giving them a free pass. Mahogany said, humbling, quote unquote, about the film session of Sunday's game in the offensive line room on Monday. He said, quote, me especially, it was definitely humbling. And just knowing that I wasn't all the way where I wanted to be, maybe I got too ahead of myself. We all know we didn't play to our standards. Very humbling, but it's about who you are when you get punched in the mouth. When you get punched in the mouth, who are you? We'll come back to grow from it. Like, they're saying what we want to hear, guys, but it's not a bad thing. They know exactly what was wrong. They know that the O line was responsible for a lot of the nonsense that happened offensively, and they're taking full credit for it, which you got to respect, right? And they're not staying away from it. They're not shying away from their mistakes. They're addressing it, and if they're going and fixing it, we really shouldn't have anything to worry about, right? For 3 quarters Monday night, Chicago's defense dominated the Vikings until J.J. McCarthy and the offense got things rolling late with a comeback in the fourth quarter from behind. The Bears, without 3 starters due to an injury, cornerback Jalen Johnson, which is a big one, linebacker TJ Edwards, and cornerback Kyler Gordon were out. But Lions head coach Dan Campbell said Wednesday that he expects a couple of those players to be back this week for our meeting. Johnson and Edwards returned to practice this week and are trending toward playing Sunday at Ford Field. So they lost and they choked with missing people, right? Now they have those core guys back, especially Jalen Johnson. We're gonna have to play smart, and we can't mess up. We can't make little mistakes. Picks are gonna be stupid. We can't let any of that little stuff happen. With that being said, I think that's what was getting addressed this week, and I think that's what's giving me a little more hope going into week 2 instead of being one of these bandwagon fans who are just like, "Oh yeah, Lions missed their window. It's over after one game." No, I think we're going to play hard. I think there's going to be something in the air about this game. And if they're saying the O line is fixed and they're saying that these problems have been addressed, I think we can start to be a little more excited for our younger rookie guys and see what they're made of in this week 2 matchup. That's what I think, though. Let me know what you guys think. We are going to quickly move into the comments part of this video. Start with Rock and Rob 1972 says, as a Lions fan, I'd have to say it goes Packers, Vikings, Bears, then us. Bears may not have looked good either, but they look better than we did and only scored 2 field goals the entire game. And it wasn't until the last possession of the game that we even scored a touchdown. So I see your point here, Rock and Rob. But in a thing like this, when it's only week 1, I don't know if going strictly off of scoring is how we should be placing these teams. I think an analyst could sit down and say, these teams had a better week than us, but are they a better team still? There's still that line of, does one game all of a sudden make you definitively better than these other teams who we know have better fit players and have a better roster and more upside, right? I think in that logic, I would say the Lions are still up there. Packers, of course, took it, right? Because they were so dominant in doing so. And there's been question if they are going to dominate this division this year, right? But I still don't think it's enough from those other 2 teams to get ahead of the Lions. Still, though, I appreciate your comment, and I respect your opinion in this one. It's still fine. I don't think it's a bad take. I'm just, in my opinion, that's what I think. Thank you so much for your comment, Rock and Rob 1972. Moving to MC Jaguar. They say, I do believe Hutch can return to full form, as good and as better as he was before the injury, but I'm not sure if this is his year. One reason it could be beneficial for the team to wait on this deal, if Hutch doesn't have a great year because he truly isn't 100% in parentheses, then we might be able to re-sign him for a little bit on a discount. If we give him a contract right now, I believe his agent will want him to get paid in the ballpark of what Parsons got. If we wait till after the season and Hutch does return to full form this year, it doesn't really change. If we wait till the end of the season and if Hutch wasn't elite, and then we might be able to get him signed for a smaller discount, and then hope he is back to full form and even better 1 year on from now and on. I actually don't hate this, guys. I do think just because Hutch is one of our key players, they're going to try to get this deal done sooner than later. But I like where your head's at here, right? If for some reason this injury is going to slow him down, we've heard how he's going to be better this year, how he's been crazy in camp, but we didn't really see it against the Packers, partially due to him being double teamed every single play. But I like where you're saying here. If for some reason he is limited because of that injury, we could get a discount off of him by waiting. But at the same time, that's not fair to him, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Then again, he's hands off. It's his agent handling everything. So you're gonna have to see it from a business perspective. The agents want to get it, trying to get as much money for his guy as possible. Waiting is gonna be really tough on the Lions end. I don't know, but I like where your head's at here. And if we could get him for a little cheaper than Parsons, I wouldn't be mad about that either. With that being said, we're out of time today. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Lions Latest. If you made it to this point in the video, tell me your opinions on the trends for the game against the Bears and who you think is going to stand out the most. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss a video here on Lions Latest. Enjoy the rest of your day. Go week 2, go Lions, and I will see you in the next video.